We know that Nikola Vucevic has been extended for 3 years. But the question I got to pose today is, will the Chicago Bulls regret extending Nikola Vucevic when it's all said and done? You already know I'm going to talk about it. But you got to hear the music first.
Cognac, gang.
Shy Bulls Podcast with the Cognac Boys. I'm Cognac Boy Bobby, and I'm holding it down for me and my co-host C-Dub on today's episode of Shy Bulls Podcast. If you like what you're listening to today, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and shake that notification bell so every time we drop, you'll be one of the first ones to know. Now on to the topic for the day. Will the Chicago Bulls regret extending center Nikola Vucevic? Now, right off the top, you know what I'm saying? It was something that I came in and been saying all season long. Something has to change. You know what I'm saying? That's between that core of DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, and Nikola Vucevic. And then as time went on, it just became more evident that these guys actually might be back and that the organization might be running this thing back. There was definitely some conversation when it came down to the activity of the front office and all the moves that they made coming into, this organization early on, trading for Vooch during at the middle part of that season. Then that following off season, going to get a DeMar DeRozan, going to get a Lonzo Ball, going to get a Alex Caruso. Those were many moves that the front office typically does not make. If you're looking at what AK was doing while he was over there with the Denver Nuggets, that he pretty much sat on his hands a lot. Yes, there were some minor moves made, but right then and right there, we seen that the front office, led by AK, he was ready to go. Like, he wanted to turn this thing around quick, and he wanted to win some games. Now it's still gonna take some steps to build that contender out. And when it comes to center Nikola Vucevic, if we're looking at the landscape, if we keeping it a buck, yes, the free agent shopping was fun, but it wasn't that many options, ladies and gentlemen. It wasn't that many options when you look at the centers that could have potentially came in and replaced Vooch. And I understand a lot of people is not going to be on par with this age. Some people are going to disagree with the money, all of that stuff. But we can nitpick and do all that stuff we want to. But at the same time, it is what it is. Because if we're looking at some of the centers that are available, you know what I'm saying, whether they have a player option, a club option, or they're unrestricted, the landscape is just not that pretty. You know what I'm saying? So for now, I'm going to go ahead and list off some names. And you ask me, they're either at the same level or below Nikola Vucevic when it comes to the center position. We're looking at Brook Lopez, about the same. We're looking at Jakob Poeltl, better defensively, but not so better offensively. So about the same. Christian Wood, definitely not better than Nikola Vucevic. He's not that far off, but not somebody that I'm willing to say, hey, he can definitely come in and be my starting center. You got old school Mason Plumlee. You got Dwight Powell, Thomas Bryant. You got Mike Muscala. You got Drew Banks. You got Bismack Biyombo. You got Kevin Love. Do y'all see the drift right here? It's not the landscape of centers wasn't that beautiful to look for, to look at. So it was just something that we definitely had to look at. And I think that they looked at all their options. And I was of the mindset early on, a potential replacement could have been Naz Reid, even though he would have been a huge question mark when it comes to starting, because he doesn't start in Minnesota. So that still would have been a question mark that you would have had coming into the organization. But I will say this, that we do know he would have made the Chicago Bulls team a little bit more athletic from the center position for sure. Now, there are still some options out there. I don't know if you want to go ahead and compare Vooch to them. But you look at Jackson Hayes, you look at Paul Reed, things like that. Y'all want Cody Zeller? I think not. What about a Montrezl Harrell? No, no defensive bag whatsoever. So if we're looking at the landscape, we understanding like, man, right now it's just not that pretty, So I don't think that the Chicago Bulls was missing much. Now, there are going to be some people that's come in and say that, well, now that you signed him into a 3-year deal, you kind of strap yourself on for other opportunities or prevent yourself from other opportunities. And that's fair. But at the same time, that is still a trade market that you can go after. But I will say this. The most important thing for the Chicago Bulls is to find their center of the future. We still don't even know who that is. We know that Nikola Vucevic is an older guy. You know what I'm saying? And they gave him 3 years now. But now is the time to be trying to plan for the future. And that doesn't necessarily mean always going to trade for someone. It doesn't necessarily mean going into the free agent market, at least not right now, and banking on someone. What if that goes in? What if that, has to be something that has to be done through the draft? These guys, we don't know. We probably won't ever see this guy. That's Marko Simonovic, and that's fine. But what if there's another guy that comes in, next year, when the Bulls do have their own first round pick, and they might select a center who can start to develop behind Vooch and then eventually take on that role when that time comes. So you just never know. So I would just pump the brakes, let the year work out. Like I said, now that we've seen kind of what the direction is going to be, because I don't expect that many moves to happen. I expect probably about two players to get signed here, and that's pretty much it. And that's including the resigning of Ayo Sumu and Kobe White on top of that. So I think that's what the team will relatively look the same, So I think that's just what it is. And what it's really going to come down to is, can these guys build on something? I think that with the addition of a solid point guard, or if Kobe White or Ayo Sumo or somebody can take that next step forward to help this team offensively and help orchestrate an offense, that will make the team perform better. Would it be something that's extravagant? Probably not. Will it be something that helped the team go to the second round? We don't know. But we definitely seen different, crazy things happen these last two postseasons. So, but, we just got to pump the brakes a little bit. At least I will. You know what I'm saying? I definitely feel some of the frustration, because it's definitely going to be like, hey, some people are definitely going to come on and say Nikola Vucevic we should have been gauging and looking at him and let the market kind of determine his money. But I say that if you want to start to build out a good culture within your organization, no matter what, you have to treat your good players well. And that's what I firmly believe. I believe that you keep it a buck with, you have to be honest and keep it a buck with your veteran players who play well. This guy, Nikola Vucevic, gave you 82 games, 18 points, 11 rebounds, and was consistent. He was available. Most centers of his size with his skill set, some of them are not available. You know what I'm saying? And even if you wanted to go ahead and look at some of the replacements, they are not available. So you got to give him kudos to that, and you got to respect them. You got to show them your respect if you want to start to turn this thing around. We already know most times when free agents look at destinations, they look at how the organization treats its players that have come through the organization. Look how it ended with Derrick Rose with the last regime. It didn't end well. And we still are clamoring at that moment where we were like, man, we could have kept Jimmy Butler and Derrick Rose. We talk about this all the time. At least some of us. You know what I'm saying? So we have to treat these players well. There weren't that many options. I ran off some names. You know what I'm saying? And those names, it just didn't match up or hit home for me as some of Nikola Vucevic's name. Now, if somebody says, okay, we could have traded for Miles Turner, Don't y'all know that Vucevic been busting mouths, turned up his head in head-to-head battles for the longest? Look at the stats. That's gonna be something up to y'all. Look at the stats. He worked them the last time they faced off against each other. I believe he dropped a 30 piece. And then you be like, okay, what about Aiden? Why would we trade for DeAndre Aiden when he's a question mark himself? Is the guy in there mentally? I know he's talented, but is he in there mentally? I think it's a mental thing with him. So is he present mentally? Can he help the team if he get his mind right? What will he be able to stretch the floor? We haven't seen that. How much activities is he going to give us offensively and defensively? We don't know. So it's still too many question marks if somebody was to say trade Vooch for DeAndre Ayton, and you giving up more than $20 million a year. You giving up more than that. What? Somebody gonna come out with a crazy trade and say let's trade for AD? Absolutely not. Let's trade for Joker? Won't happen. Let's trade for I even give you one that's great in comparison. I even seen somebody say let's go get Valanciunas. For what? For what? Why would we do that? That makes absolutely no sense. My man's Vooch is better than most centers in this league, bro. It ain't too many centers you could put over Vooch. So he deserves his respect. Well, whether people want to say that the discount or the pay, the yearly salary is too much. Okay, fine. But the salary cap went up this year, and it's projected to continue to go up. So as the projection goes up, more money frees up. And it is what it is, man. And then if all of it fails, if somehow Vooch starts to break down and not be the double machine guy that that we expect him to be, you could always trade him and salary dump him. Somebody will take it. Somebody will take it. These guys are selling off players for chips on the dollar. Chips on the dollar, not pennies, chips on the dollar right now. So that's what it really comes down to. I don't think that the Chicago Bulls will regret re-signing Nikola Vucevic. I think it was a good signing. It made sense because let's be honest, there's not that many great centers on the market right now. Unless you guys want to say, we should have went to get Jakob Poeltl. It's not he doesn't move the needle for me. You know what I'm saying? Would he have been outstanding defensively? Probably so. But he doesn't move the needle for me. We would have still been in the same position that we are today on June 29th. That's it. So, yeah, the Bulls would not regret this decision unless something catastrophic happens. And I'm going to knock on wood here because I don't wish that on anybody. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, we just gotta go with it and see what the hell happens at this particular at this moment. I'm still hoping that they go ahead and bring in more point guard help. Go ahead and try to find a 3-point specialist, and then let's run it back because that's what it's looking like. But if it's not looking good by trade deadline, it's time to pull the trigger on a DeMar DeRozan trade or something. You got to do something. But that ain't the topic for the day. We're going to keep it pushing. Make sure y'all go ahead and let me know down below in the comment box. Will the Chicago Bulls regret extending Nikola Vucevic? Let me know in the comment box below. We're going to be talking, chatting it up all day. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. If you want to sound off on today's episode, send a text message or call in and leave a voicemail at 773-242-9219. This is another episode of Shy Bulls Podcast. I'm Bobby. Y'all gonna catch y'all on the next one for sure.
Cognac.